There's something unusual about Kris Jenner reducing Corey Gamble's allowance to $10,000 a month. Hi, before we continue, please subscribe to the channel for all Kardashians news and update. Kris Jenner, the famous momager of the Kardashian-Jenner family, is making headlines again, but this time it's not about a new business deal or family drama. Rumors are swirling that she's cutting back on boyfriend Corey Gamble's monthly allowance, slashing it to $10,000. While that might sound like a lot to most people, it's raising eyebrows because Corey isn't exactly someone who needs financial help. The story gets even stranger when you consider Corey's own successful career, so why would Kris be giving him an allowance in the first place? Let's break down what's really going on. Kris and Corey have been a couple since 2014, meeting at a party just as her marriage to Caitlyn Jenner was ending. Over the past decade, they've become one of Hollywood's most low-key but glamorous pairs, traveling the world and appearing together on the family's reality shows. Corey, known for his work as a talent manager in the music industry, has always had his own career. He's worked with big names like Justin Bieber and is linked to Scooter Braun's SB Projects, a major company in entertainment. By all accounts, Corey built his wealth long before dating Kris, which makes the idea of him needing an allowance from her seem odd. According to a report from Life and Style magazine, Kris recently decided to tighten her budget, and Corey's allowance was one of the first things to get cut. A source close to the family claims Kris is worried about her finances, even though she's worth millions. The insider said, "She's stressing over her bank account getting smaller and had to make cuts somewhere, but definitely not from her collection of fancy wines." The magazine also mentioned Corey had been on her payroll for 10 years, which doesn't line up with his actual job history. He's been with SB Projects for years, not working directly for Kris or the Kardashian brand. This is where things get confusing. If Corey has his own income and career, why would Kris be giving him money at all? Some fans speculate the allowance might be tied to his appearances on their reality shows. Since joining the family's orbit, Corey has become a regular face on Keeping Up with the Kardashians and their newer Hulu series, The Kardashians. Like other cast members, he likely gets paid for his screen time. But calling that an allowance feels misleading. It's more accurate to say he earns a paycheck for being part of the show, just like anyone else in the family. Then there's the question of Kris's finances. With a net worth estimated in the hundreds of millions, thanks to her cut of the family's businesses and TV deals, it's hard to imagine her sweating over budget cuts. Reports say she earned around $25 million for the first 2 seasons of The Kardashians on Hulu and between $5 million to $7 million per season of their earlier show. But the source insists Kris is feeling the pressure as the reality TV world changes. Streaming platforms like Hulu are tightening spending, and audiences are demanding more drama to stay interested. Though the show has been renewed for a 6th season, ratings have dipped, and fans are complaining it's become too predictable. Another insider added, Kris wants the show to last forever, but the reality of how streaming works is hitting her hard. Costs are going up, and the money isn't flowing like it used to. This could explain why she's being more careful with her spending, even if the Corey allowance story seems off. But cutting his monthly payments to $10,000 doesn't exactly scream financial crisis for someone of Kris's wealth. It's possible the rumor is exaggerated or part of a bigger strategy to stir up buzz for the show. After all, the Kardashians are masters at keeping their names in the headlines. Corey, meanwhile, hasn't publicly commented on the reports. Those close to him say he's focused on his work and doesn't rely on Kris for money. Friends describe him as private and low-key, someone who stays out of the family's drama. His social media shows him traveling, attending events, and working behind the scenes in music, not exactly the lifestyle of someone depending on a handout. In fact, insiders say Corey's the one who often treats Kris to vacations and gifts, not the other way around. So why would this rumor surface now? Some think it's a tactic to revive interest in the Hulu show. With fans complaining about boring episodes, a juicy story about Kris cutting off her boyfriend could bring viewers back. Others believe it's a misunderstanding of how the family's finances work. Maybe Corey's role on the show involves a structured payment, and Kris, as the manager, handles those deals. Calling it an allowance might just be tabloid gossip. There's also the chance that Kris is rethinking how she spends her money as the family's empire evolves. Her younger daughters, Kylie and Kendall, are building their own brands outside the show, and the older siblings are focusing on businesses, too. With fewer storylines centered on the whole family, Kris might be shifting funds to new projects. But again, Corey's alleged $10,000 allowance seems like a small detail in the grand scheme of things. The bigger picture here is how the Kardashian-Jenner machine stays relevant. For years, they've mastered the art of turning personal drama into public entertainment. Whether it's a breakup, a new baby, or a business launch, they know how to keep people talking. This allowance story fits the pattern. It's just strange enough to grab attention but vague enough to leave people guessing. In the end, the truth might be simpler than the rumors suggest. Corey and Kris have been together for nearly a decade, a lifetime in Hollywood years. Their relationship has survived intense public scrutiny, busy careers, and blending into the chaos of the Kardashian world. If there's any tension over money, it's likely handled privately, like in any other partnership. The idea that Kris is suddenly pulling back support doesn't match their history of being a solid team. As for the $10,000 figure, it's worth noting that the Kardashians live in a world where that amount is pocket change. For someone like Kris, who's used to negotiating million-dollar deals, this kind of cutback wouldn't make a dent in her finances. It's possible the number is symbolic, a way to show she's making changes, or just a random detail added to spice up the story. Whatever the case, this rumor highlights the fascination with celebrity lifestyles and the assumptions people make about their relationships. While most couples budget together without headlines, everything the Kardashians do becomes a public conversation. For Corey and Kris, this might just be another day in their extraordinary lives, a mix of reality TV, high-stakes business, and the occasional tabloid drama. The lesson here: take gossip with a grain of salt, especially when it involves a family that's built an empire on staying in the spotlight. If Kris is really worried about money, she's got the skills to turn things around. And if Corey's allowance is truly down to $10,000 a month, something tells us he'll be just fine. Corey, meanwhile, hasn't publicly commented on the reports. Those close to him say he's focused on his work and doesn't rely on Kris for money. Friends describe him as private and low-key, someone who stays out of the family's drama. His social media shows him traveling, attending events, and working behind the scenes in music, not exactly the lifestyle of someone depending on a handout. In fact, insiders say Corey's the one who often treats Kris to vacations and gifts, not the other way around. Thanks for watching. Please do well to share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more Kardashian updates.